Bulls Nation, after conceding a devastating loss to the OKC Thunder, where the OKC Thunder came back from a 22-point deficit, we turned to the Dallas Mavericks as a redemption game, as a game to prove ourselves. And in a similar situation to the OKC Thunder, where we were up by a decent amount, this time we found the victory easily. So without further ado, the redemption game, the comeback game, the better performance. Let's talk about the Chicago Bulls versus the Dallas Mavericks in this video. Let's do it. What's up, everybody? It's the Aidan Sports Show, and welcome back to another video. Today, we've got a Chicago Bulls versus Dallas Mavericks game reaction. And the Chicago Bulls, after a devastating loss against the OKC Thunder, decided to give the perfect response for the Chicago Bulls in this game today. Get it done early. Don't make yourself concede a lead. And the Chicago Bulls did what everybody was asking them to do in that OKC Thunder game. And hopefully this is something that we will continue to do going forward. But before we get started, please like and subscribe to the Aidan Sports Show YouTube channel. Turn notifications on. Let me know in the comments below who is your player of the game and how happy are you with this victory against the Dallas Mavericks. 2 for 2 against the Dallas Mavericks this season. You can't deny that we've performed very, very well there. If you don't know the scoreline for this game, the Chicago Bulls were 117 to 101 victors against the Dallas Mavericks. And the Chicago Bulls earned this win straight from the beginning all the way. I don't think the Dallas Mavericks had a lead for majority of this game, and the Chicago Bulls managed the lead. The third quarter, the Dallas Mavericks came back and hit us hard, and the Chicago Bulls retaliated by doing the same thing back to the Dallas Mavericks. That is the style that you'd like to see with the Chicago Bulls. That is the perfect response when someone is trying to come back in a game. You need to hit them back. And the OKC Thunder, we buckled under pressure. We felt the intensity, the pressure of the moment, and we didn't respond well. I like to call this game the perfect response. After all the criticism, after the video I made last night about the Chicago Bulls and improving in the clutch, the first thing I said was, get your job done early so you don't even need to be involved in a clutch situation. Get the job done in the third quarter. Get the job done at the start of the fourth. Don't waste your time letting them come back so you could beat them in a close game. We did what we were supposed to do. That is a winning team's performance today. And look, we shouldn't get overreactionary because, again, we've seen games like the Thunder before where we will have good leads and we can concede it. But today, I hope, is the step in the right direction that we need for the Chicago Bulls. With more games coming up, some winnable games coming up, hopefully we can see this consistency when we're up in games for the Chicago Bulls. We're not going to be up by 17, 16, 14 points every single game. There's never going to be a guarantee. But for the Chicago Bulls, when they have those types of leads, it's important they keep them, and it's important that we win those games. And this was an important game to win. We could have had 2 games victory. Let's be real. It's still, that's the sad part. It's happy. Of course, I'm super excited and really happy with how the Bulls played today. But it's upsetting because we could have had the Thunder game as well. We could have had this game and the Thunder game. All of a sudden, we're in a different situation than what we are. Unfortunately, that's not how the cookie crumbles. And we are once again looking at a victory and wondering what could have been with other games. Now, if you look at the box score for this game, you're wondering, how did we actually win this game? Who was our leading scorer? Where was Zach LaVine? Where was Kobe White? Where were all of our players in terms of actually finding the scoring options? Well, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to be in a situation this season where the starters, especially our 2 best players in Kobe White and Zach LaVine, won't always have good games. And we'll talk about that when we get there. But the most important part of a good team is your bench. And the bench was absolutely massive today. Shout out to that bench. I'm going to give every single player a shout out. Whether you had a good game or you were mediocre but you played your part, shout out to you. Shout out to Garrett Temple. Shout out to Otto Porter. Shout out to Thaddeus Young. Shout out to Ryan Archidiakono. Shout out to Daniel Gafford. And hopefully I haven't missed somebody. But shout out to those players because they were the absolute key for this victory. Because look at the stats. The Chicago Bulls starters, apart from Lowry, did not have a tremendous scoring affair in this game. It's as simple as that. They didn't. They had little to no scoring effect on this game. But what they did right is the bench stepped up when the starters were not. And that is an important part of what a winning team is. There are going to be games where the Chicago Bulls starting five don't live up to the expectation of other games, don't live up to the expectation of what they should be doing. And look, it happens to every team. Every team's starting five, every team's best players will have off days. And it's up to the Chicago Bulls and it's up to our bench to find ways to pick up where those players leave off and allow to get the pressure off of those players. Zach LaVine. I really thought Zach LaVine had a great game today. And I know the box score doesn't show it. I believe he was 1 and 8 from the field. All of his points came from the free throw line. But he didn't need to be a scorer today because other people were picking up the scoring side for him. It allowed him to become a playmaker. And that's where Zach LaVine's good game came from. He didn't need to score 40 points today for us to come close or to get a 20-point lead. We didn't need him to do that today. And to his credit, he knew that and he decided, I need to be a playmaker. I need to get these people involved because they're the ones that's scoring. So overall, it's a great night for the Chicago Bulls in terms of finding ways to get your points, balancing the points out from the bench. And that's why they all get shout-outs. A huge game. And now let's go into individual performers. Larry Markkinen was amazing today. Back to his best. 29 points, 3 assists, 10 rebounds. A career high, or a season high, for Larry Markkinen in this season. 29 points. Larry Markkinen was very aggressive. His three-point shot is still not there to the extent where we would like it to be. And that's fine. Like, at the end of the day, it's going to take time. I really think he'll get there eventually. But he was super aggressive today. Porzingis, Colistein, 2 big bodies, 2 centers that are big men, that are not really small ball players. Usually we talk about Larry is the tallest player. Larry should be the one that's in a mismatch and he should go into the post or should cut into the paint. Well, he wasn't the tallest guy on the court today. And he still did those things. He still got his buckets. He still got tip-ins. He still got rebounds. And he was super aggressive. So Larry Markkinen, an amazing game. And salute to you because you were by far the best player out there in terms of the starting five. Full credit to you. Wendell Carter had a decent game as well today. 12 points, 7 rebounds, 1 assist. Anytime Wendell Carter gets to the double digits of scoring, that's where I think he has a decent game. Because at the end of the day, we started that game with Wendell Carter having 5 points. We needed Wendell Carter to make those shots. Those are very important shots to start the game. The way you start the game is very important because that can ultimately benefit towards the rest of the game. So Wendell Carter got us starting off hot and we continued from there. So I think he played a very important part to this. And again, his defense, he's there. He's been stepping up a lot in recent games. And I know he doesn't get the credit because his weaknesses are so glaring. The pick and roll defense is so glaring that it kind of stunts anything else that he does. But he is stepping up in other areas. So I have to give credit for Wendell Carter in his performances. Obviously, Zach LaVine, we've talked about him already, had a double-double today, 10 points and 10 assists. Didn't get a rebound, which is something that I find very awkward with Zach. Usually he gets a couple of rebounds, but with Zach LaVine, he got a career high or a season high in assists, a career high assist for the Bulls, 10 assists. Don't think he's ever gotten that for us before. So, a big game on the playmaking for Zach LaVine. He got his teammates involved very, very well tonight, and he wasn't the scorer that he needed to be. And maybe that is a message for Zach LaVine to get more players involved. Maybe trust your teammates a little bit more because your teammates had your back tonight. So, it's time to give them a little bit of credit for your games. We could talk about Patrick Williams. Now, once again, Patrick Williams, for the majority of the game, guarded the best player on the Mavericks team in Luka Doncic. Now, at the end of the day, Luka Doncic had an amazing night. And you can't say Patrick Williams had a great game. At the end of the day, Luka Doncic, he had 36 points, 15 assists, and 16 rebounds. That is immense. That is MVP level performance. That is a performance I don't think... Like, Luka is such a joy to watch. He is. I don't care if I'm a Bulls fan or an NBA fan. It doesn't matter. When you watch Luka, it's a joy to watch him. And that's what I say this all the time. Enjoy Luka while he's here. Enjoy players like LeBron, Kevin Durant. They're great players. You can watch them all the time, and it's like magic on the court. But Luka Doncic is something special, man. He is something special. I can't wait to see him develop and grow. But obviously, I'm very much more happy that he didn't get a victory today. Patrick Williams had 5 points, 5 rebounds, 1 assist. Look, Patrick Williams didn't have the best of games today. I think that's fair to say. He got fouls very, very early. He only played 23 minutes. But once again, it's a learning progress for Patrick Williams. I'm still extremely happy that he's the one that's taking on board guarding Luka Doncic. I'm still very happy that he's taking on board guarding LeBron, guarding Giannis, guarding Kawhi. These are very, very, very memorable minutes for Patrick Williams. These are minutes that will help him in the future. In 4 years' time, when he should be our best player, these types of minutes will help him. And that's a great part of this. More often than not, Patrick Williams is delivering against the top teams and the top players. Now, today might not be the best example of that, but at the end of the day, he has shown his worth on the defensive end, and we still have a lot to look forward to. I think the player, Kobe White, was a big problem today. 0 points, 4 assists, 3 rebounds. The positive about Kobe White's performance is that he wasn't forcing it. When he had 0 points, he wasn't forcing it to get his shot. He was very, very calm and cool and collected, but you'd like to see him make a field goal. I mean, that is the basic thing as the starting point guard. Create for yourself and create for others. He wasn't necessarily the best playmaker today either. So it was a frustrating game for Kobe White. And again, not every game are you going to have great games. Kobe White is not a player that has consistently good games. And this is just one of those bad ones. But thankfully, it resulted in a Bulls win. So I'm sure he would take that over having a good game and a loss. Obviously, we move on to the bench. Garrett Temple, phenomenal game. 21 points, 3 assists, 3 rebounds. Garrett Temple was everywhere. Garrett Temple was defensively guarding the best player, Luka Doncic. Garrett Temple was getting his shots up, contested mid-ranges, open threes, beautiful layups, fast break. He got a good pass to Thaddeus Young for an and one. That really brought the momentum back to our side. I think you simply can't ignore a game like that. Fair play to Garrett Temple. A huge shout out to him that came off the bench and delivered in a phenomenal performance for the Chicago Bulls. He had our back today. He performed at a high level, and it was very important that he did so. Thaddeus Young obviously came in, had a good game as well. 15 points, you had 3 assists, 3 rebounds, and he also got 2 steals and 2 blocks. Look, a fantastic bench performance all the way around, and Thaddeus Young contributed very highly with that. Notice how all the bench players got a plus in their plus minus, and a lot of our players did actually, to be fair. But it's good to see that our bench is getting credit for what the Chicago Bulls have done, and it shows in nearly every single stat. Otto Porter, 14 points, had 2 assists, had 9 rebounds off the bench. Otto Porter coming in clutch. 1 steal. Great game from Otto Porter. Arcidiacono wasn't necessarily the standout guy, but he did phenomenal in what he was supposed to do. Had 4 points, had 5 assists, and had 4 rebounds. Solid game from Arcidiacono. And Daniel Gafford barely played, but got 7 points and 3 rebounds. A beautiful game from Daniel Gafford. He came in and gave Bogdanovic some work in that first quarter. Beautiful game. And those were the stats for the Chicago Bulls. Now, moving into the must improve, I do have to target out Kobe White. I understand when it's not working for you, you need to find other ways to contribute. Well, he wasn't necessarily the best playmaker today either, and I think that's the issue with Kobe White in today's game. Thankfully, we've won the game, and thankfully, we won it comfortably, and we deserved it. So Kobe White didn't have to put any pressure on himself to deliver in those final stretches, or to deliver and get some points, or force his way to the free throw line, or whatever it is, like many of the stars have to do when they're the only star on the team. Something that Zach LaVine had to do today, get to the free throw line. He had a lot of his free throws. That caused Zach LaVine to get 10 points. So, in that retrospect, I think Kobe White might need to improve a little bit. It's not something I'm going to target massively, because at the end of the day, he's a second-year player. He's going to be inconsistent. And maybe in the next game, he drops 30. You just don't know with this team. You don't know. There are good players on this team, and they can go off on any given night. And it shows with Garrett Temple. Now, I could give Garrett Temple the player of the game. I'm going to give a massive shout out to Garrett Temple, but I think Larry Markkinen should get player of the game. At the end of the day, he got his season high today, 29 points. He got a double-double. Now, the plus-minus might lead you towards Garrett Temple, and if Garrett Temple is your player of the game, I 100% accept that, and I will applaud you for that. But for me, I think it is Larry Markkinen. I feel like the way that he has come back within that second game and put on a performance like that, it shows that he is not the reason that we were losing games at the beginning of the season. And I don't think he was the reason we lost the game last night or whenever the OKC Thunder game was 2 days ago. And I thought he was tremendous for the Bulls today. Now, in saying that, Garrett Temple, huge performance. Otto Porter, huge performance. Many big performances from the Chicago Bulls. Nothing to be ashamed of in today's game. Our record is now 5-8. Now, again, if you look at the games that we've had over recent times, this record could have been extremely different. And it's not the best thing to just look back at previous games and say, yeah, we should have won that one. We should have won that one. This one we definitely could have won. Because at the end of the day, it's not how life works. You need to be looking forward more than looking back. But you can't help it sometimes to look back at those games, the Kings game, the Thunder game, maybe even that Clippers or Lakers game, one of those games. I think if we just did one more thing, if we had one more player, if we made one good play, we could have won that game. And sometimes that's how basketball is. So we are 5-8. I don't think 5-8 is a terrible record for the Bulls at this time. We're not competing for a playoff spot right now. I don't think we're in the standings close enough to other teams. But we are competing, and that's the big step. There are a lot of teams that are ahead of us that don't compete as well as the Chicago Bulls compete against good teams, and we don't have the easiest schedule. So being where we are, I can't complain about where we are right now. There are many teams that don't have the schedule we have, and hopefully in the second half of the season that will show. But we can't complain about that. At the end of the day, we are where we are on merit. We deserve to be 5-8. Unfortunately, that's just how it is. And our next game is against the Houston Rockets, a back-to-back. I could have sworn this game changed its day because I did not think we had a back-to-back. But we do. We have a back-to-back against the Houston Rockets, the new-look Houston Rockets. John Wall will be out for that game. DeMarcus Cousins could potentially not play that game either. So, again, we should be competing in this game. We can't get blown away. The Houston Rockets, we've always had an issue with the Houston Rockets. They always fire up shots and they make them. So we need to limit those three-point shots, and I think we have a very good chance in taking that game. And hopefully we will. And that could lead off to a fantastic two-game stretch back-to-back if we could get that victory. Again, optimistic, I'm sure. A lot of teams, a lot of players are optimistic. We're optimistic. At the end of the day, we could have won 2 in a row. So, look, take this win for what it is. It's a big win against a good team, and we deserved it. And we did it in their backyard. Dallas is a very tough place to go. They did win 4 out of their last 5 games, and we went there and we deserved to beat them. So hopefully we take that confidence going into that Houston Rockets game and try and elevate ourselves to an even further positive standing. And we wait and see how the Chicago Bulls do. Thank you guys for watching. Please like and subscribe if you're new. I'm very sorry for the longish video. Hopefully you enjoyed it either way. Have a wonderful day. It was 7 in the morning when this game started. So I think it's safe to say I'm going back to sleep. Take care and peace.